All right.
Yo, this is the last episode. Yanko's gonna have to hold his microphone up.
Yes.
Unless we do one. Oh no, you're right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
When are you guys traveling?
it's also the last audio only episode for a while. We're back into the real season.
Well, don't say that. Well, how many episodes in visual form do you think we're getting Katowice?
I would say 3 to
Bloody
4.
hell. You're ambitious.
Not
We
4,
did
but
3.
3.
4 episodes.
3. We can do 3.
So
We can
one
do 3.
before, one on a break day, and then when's the other one? In the morning of one of the playoff days?
No, like in between the groups and playoffs, and we do one around groups playing something. I don't know.
Bro, we did like 4 episodes at G8. We did like 4 episodes at Cologne. I think we
Can
could.
we all right. Oh, okay. Can we just
Well,
say
let's
2?
not over.
Can we
Let's
promise,
not overload
Can
it.
we
Yeah,
promise 2?
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Going for
maybe
3.
of 3.
If you set the
maybe
bar
a 3.
low, you'll never be disappointed. Words to live by.
Yeah. Yeah, my bar's very low. I'm not very good at, what's it called? Not hula hooping. The one where you get limbo.
Limbo.
That's the one. Yeah. I wanted
But
to...
the low bar is the hardest part of limbo.
Well, that's true. Okay, so they're conflicting sentiments that we've kind of thrown out in there into the universe. So I guess if we were limboing, you'd set a high bar, but for the rest of life, set a low bar because it's
Exactly.
easy to step over. Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah?
I travel on Sunday, just to answer your question from
Okay.
a minute ago. Yeah.
I think I fly on the 28th as well, but you would get there a day later than I. So I imagine you land on the 29th.
Correct.
I will land on the 28th. I have media obligations on the 29th, I believe. Then what? The event starts on Wednesday the 31st? Does that sound about
Yeah.
right?
That sounds about right.
I get in on
Yeah,
the
okay. So
29th too.
Okay. Fair enough. I think me, Hugo, Alex, and Freya are going to do some recording or something on the 29th. I know what the something is. It's just I didn't know how to put it into words. Some content. There you go. It's content for Katowice of some variety. Yeah, I need to get on top of that too. I should probably read my emails and reply to some messages. Classic Chad Birchall problems. Now I wanted to sing you guys a song today and see if you could pick where this one's from. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Hopefully, because this is going to be some of the best singing you've ever heard. Hopefully, this doesn't get us taken down because it's going to be quite accurate. All right. Near, far, wherever you are,
Yeah.
I believe that the heart does go on.
Sing it, baby. You know, want to know a funny story about that song is I actually sang that in a duet in elementary school.
Oh my God, I love it. Tell me more.
Is there footage?
Tell me more.
My parents might have it buried somewhere, but it will never be recovered. But yeah, you know, little fucking second grade suit and tie, third grade suit and tie, or something like that. I think it was like around there, maybe fourth grade. But yeah, elementary school, suit and tie, girl next to me in a nice dress, you know, singing out to the whole class, the whole school, and their parents.
How old would you have been in the second grade, Jason?
That would have been, I don't know. That would have been
8.
Dude, I don't even know. I don't know how that shit works.
Okay.
No, but what? Well, I don't think. I think Titanic came
When
out
did
after
you start
that.
going to school, man?
Fourth grade, maybe fifth grade. I don't even remember what it was. Well, I don't know the
second
But you
grade.
age.
couldn't have
Fifth
sung
grade.
You couldn't have been singing "My Heart Will Go On" by Celine Dion back then because that song didn't come out until 1997.
Yeah, I'm pushing 40, Chad. I don't know how old you think I
Yeah,
am.
but there's a plot hole here, Jason. I was born in '89.
Second
okay?
grade might have been a bit early, but it was like fourth or fifth grade, I think.
Okay, all
Something along
right.
those lines.
Because yeah, okay, fair enough. Unless you got held back a couple of times. You were like a preteen singing "My Heart Will Go On."
Just predicting the future, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a musical rendition that I hope to bring everybody every week. It probably won't always be Celine Dion's "My Heart Will Go On." We'll see if I can come up with.
Might just do the whole Celine Dion catalog, though.
Why was this your
Well,
pitch,
she's-
Chad?
I'm not sure at the moment. Like some days I just feel a little bit more musical than others. And today I'm feeling quite musical because we fucking beat Kyojin in a pug and he's a pug hero. And we played 3 FACEIT games today already and it's only 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon and we won all of them. So,
Good for
you know,
you.
what more do you want in life right now? A couple of Anubis wins, an Ancient win, just grinding out some good games, some comebacks, some games where we were down in the dumps, some tilting, some games where Justin wasn't carrying. What more do you need in life? Nothing really.
Who is the stack today? You guys, because you guys get a nice solid stack going on. You have Azza, you have Aaron, you have JKS.
So Little Australia today consisted of me, Justin, Azza, and Bish, which is the core for all Australians. So 2 from Brisbane, 2 from Perth, with our powers combined. And then we tend to bring in a Brit. We want to keep things as much as part of the Commonwealth as possible. Yeah. So Rushley comes in occasionally, but his problem is he has a big ELO gap, so he's only bringing us 5 ELO per win. Harry will occasionally join, and then there's some other individuals kicking about. But those 2 are the main 5th components of our motley crew. So yeah, we're on a 10-game winning streak at the moment. Things have been going well. My aim is still as bad as always, but my calling, some people might say, has never been better.
God, I really need to get a 5-stack going in NA. If there's any NA players who want to do in a 5-stack, just let me know.
Go play with Cooper. They just hold W everywhere, man.
I hate that. I can't do it. That hurts my brain. I actually can't play like that.
You and Mo and what's Jordan up to these days? You could play with Jordan Nothing Gilbert and Sean the Gares.
And Robin.
Probably. Yeah, Robin, I've messaged a couple times. He's hit or miss. He's moved on in life. He's very much in the back end of esports these days.
Not even playing Counter-Strike.
He does dabble, but I think it's only when we get it's been a while. He had some ear infection issue recently, so he couldn't be playing. Not to
he's been benched.
Not for a HIPAA violation or anything like that, but yeah, he's been dealing with some shit. Did you guys see Grim shaved his head now as well?
I did. I didn't see that and go, that's unusual. I kind of saw that and went, oh, okay. Fair enough. But I know a guy, Grim, if you ever change your mind.
It's wild how much Liege influences him. And not in a good way. Grim is like, if I become him, maybe he'll just leave me alone. Maybe I'll just be able to play how I think I should play.
Oh dear. Maybe this is the new gum chewing. Remember when Twist was popping off during the Grand Slam run and everyone started chewing gum during the game? Maybe this is everyone's at least just popping off in CS2. So if we shave our heads, we'll get those powers.
Bro, it was so silly. Also, I can't remember what I remember this interview. It was like, oh, so you're doing it a lot now. Yeah, it helps me sort of focus. What was his reasoning? It's like I don't.
It stops him. It stops him from making crappy comments after he dies or when he's disappointed. He's just chewing gum, so he doesn't have the sigh or doesn't do the barbed passive aggressive comment.
Yeah, and then I'm like, I think someone even asked him, well, does it hurt your communication? It's like, oh no, I have that. I got it all figured out. I was like, okay. Imagine you're trying to, you get surprised, you're like, exit in B, and you start choking
Yeah, imagine you swallow the gum mid-game. Holy shit. That would be miserable.
And you lose an important round. That's the last.
Coach is there giving you the Heimlich maneuver or some shit in the middle of a game. It's like, he's joking. No one knows how to respond. Player managers are running out. They're all they got no idea. No one's done first aid. Who's coming to the rescue?
And of course, it's a Team Liquid player who's choking.
Oh no!
No, he's running full circle.
Oh dear, that one would sting a lot. Have you guys seen the new jerseys that have been floating around? G2's new jersey, Vitality got a new jersey. Is this the way that team orgs think they make money? We'll print an ugly jersey that no one is ever going to wear outside of the house, other than to a Counter-Strike potentially, and hope that people buy it. Aren't they the ugliest things in the world, team jerseys? Or am I just being a negative Nancy?
I think you're being a little bit negative, but you're not wrong. I actually think most jerseys are pretty ugly too. What I hate is they're all every org has gone monochrome. There's no real colors to any of these things anymore.
Yeah, I think the G2 one is sort of full black now, which is weird. I know we had this talk ages ago where it's I think we were in agreement that those polo t-shirts, for example, that the SK Counter-Strike 1.6 team had all the way back in the day. Yeah. Those are really cool. I don't really,
the Gambit varsity shirts.
Yeah, okay, you need to showcase your sponsors. That's fine, but you need to wear them on a jersey sports players do. You're not running around sweating, so it could be pretty much anything. I think it would look nicer. But I think, though, for jerseys and selling, I think, for example, G2, I've noticed... I think I even first noticed in League, when they win a tournament, they have a tournament, edition or whatever, champion edition jersey that they put out immediately. They already have the design prepared and whatnot, and then they just launch it. And I think there's probably people who buy that stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's definitely collectors and big time fans who are into that. But that's why I kind of liked what 100 Thieves were doing and those type of voices, because, and I know that the branding and people turn their nose up because it's apparel, it's not merchandise, this, that, and the other. But if there's something that I would wear out of the house that a team sells, like Furia do some cool merch, I think. Like it's just got the Furia logo, and unless you're like a Counter-Strike fan, you don't really know what that means. It's just a shirt that you could wear and it has a logo on it, and it's kind of cool from that perspective. You remember the stuff that Monty got us when we were in La Renegades? I'll link it in Discordia. But you remember how we had those big jackets? We had these big fucking black jackets with this massive print on the back. And then the only problem I had with that was the shirt itself. Hold on, I'm still learning how to use Discord. Here we go. Here it is. The shirt itself was just like just a plain t-shirt with a small little embroidered logo. If it was slight, I have a version that I might be able to find where me and Gomez designed some shirts for Renegades. And I thought they were cool because they weren't. I think the only sponsor they had on them was like that. Well, our only sponsor was Alpha
he's
Graph,
talking
so we had it like on
Audacity and not in Discord.
I'll scroll through my Twitter.
He would still hear us.
Find this, but
yeah, he would still hear us. That's true. I think
I understand what we're doing, right?
I think like the ugliest jersey I've seen in a long time, and I hate saying this. Those Vitality jerseys at the major
people would actually wear. I think it would sell more, but at the same time,
pretty gross.
These people know their business models, and they just seem to release a new jersey every 6 months or every new season or whatever the fuck it is. It must be doing numbers, otherwise they wouldn't be releasing. I think
the cool ones are, for example, Liquid with the Marvel thing. Like those ones are like,
thanks guys.
You can find them interesting.
Those are sweet.
Yeah,
Liquid does really good merch altogether. Yeah, that they are still like the Liquid merch is still like such a central part of my wardrobe just because I have so much of it, and it's still so good.
Was I still talking then?
I have no idea. You were muted on Discord, so if you were talking, it's recorded in Audacity, and we'll probably be talking over each other.
God damn it! I joined Discord on my other computer. Fuck, I was talking for a while as well. Fuck.
It's probably some good stuff, I imagine, as well.
Well,
yeah, thank God I shut up there.
Let's do another collab just to be sure, so Jason can edit some shit out if we need to.
No, Audacity will still be fine. It'll just be a funny little tidbit in the podcast, Yanko. People will love it. They'll laugh. They'll cry.
They'll fast forward.
Yeah, well, this is it. This is the scuffed podcast, aka talking.
I like to continue the jersey discussion. I like to like the phase jerseys and stuff that they were doing for a while, where like they would just have like it would basically just be like long sleeve T-shirts essentially, and it would just be like a new style that they'd bring in. I think it'd be really cool if we just had teams like stick to like one jersey that's obviously them, their colors, their logo, that's just blatantly them, and then you get unique jerseys for the major. I think that'd be sweet if teams just said every major we're going to do like a custom jersey.
Yeah, but then if you buy it one time,
major.
That's a one-time purchase. This way you're like sort of getting people to buy more stuff from you, you know?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I can't argue that.
That's what I'm saying, right? This is a way that they think they make some. What do you charge? What's the jersey worth? $60?
Yeah, but you're not moving the needle all that. So, like, how many jerseys are people selling? Like, only.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Why are they making new ones all the time? Is it because they have to because of sponsors? Maybe that's why they always have new jerseys because of
sometimes sponsors and sometimes like I know like Liquid, like one of the big complaints some of the players had when I was in Liquid. Well, like I mean this isn't any significant complaint, but like there were like in like the year that I was coaching Liquid, we had like 7 jerseys that we would wear, you know.
Yeah, it was during the Marvel period, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think even like outside of the Marvel period, like every like 7 months they had like a new jersey come out. So like, you know, it was kind of one of those things where if you wanted to be a fan of Liquid and like, you know, wear their jersey, it's like you always had to like refresh your jersey wardrobe.
Fleecing the same 100 people like every 3 months. Cough up, guys. We get another one, and these just die hard.
The jersey tax.
Get me out. I need it now. It was like, how often are you buying a fucking jersey? And like I said, where else are you wearing it, man? Other than an event or around your house? Where else are you wearing it?
I was Professor X for Halloween this year, so I wore the yellow X-Men.
That was fucking lazy.
Yeah, it was.
Did you go in a wheelchair?
Go in as Wolverine next time, pussy.
What's the etiquette on using a wheelchair in Halloween? Am I allowed to do that if I'm Professor X?
It's a costume. Surely that's okay.
But you'd have to put some work into the wheelchair.
It's fine.
Right?
You don't live in California, Jason, so I think you're safe. You're on the East Coast. You're safe.
Were you reading people's minds, Jason? How did it go?
Yeah, it went pretty good. Brought like a little Cerebro thing around with me.
It
just
would
threw
be
it on my
like,
head
he
points.
talks to Jane beforehand and tells her like 3 numbers to remember, and then he's like doing the trick. Tell me any number from 1, write it down, from 1 to 100. And then he squints real hard, like he's like, and it's like 69. Yes, that is correct.
Jason's fucking party trick. Oh dear. I can't remember the last time I dressed up for Halloween. It would have been for broadcast. Maybe it would have been one of the Halloweens we did when we were in the Copenhagens.
It would have been, yeah.
Yeah, I think because the makeup artist would do some like crazy makeup on it and put all, because it's not really a big thing in Australia. People do it, but it's like, what the fuck are you doing? The most you really see is if people going out to a club or whatever and they're just dressed up in a costume and they're going for a night out. That would probably be the biggest use case. It's not. I don't think it's as big a kids' holiday. Jason, what age do you take the kids trick or treating?
I don't know. It's a good question. I have no idea. I think probably maybe like 3, 4.
Okay, that's pretty young.
The only reason I dressed up this year is because Jane wanted to. It was Andy's first Halloween, so she had like a little like baby costume. So
baby Halloween.
Yeah, baby Halloween.
Baby Halloween. You guys have a lot of events in America just for things. You guys love doing things. Like you're never just content. You always got to do a thing in America.
It's the trade-off for not giving our workforce proper vacation days, so we just have a shit ton of holidays so that we can give them days
free
off.
Candy. Here you go. Yeah, the healthcare sucks over here. Most of you are obese. Here you go. Have some more fucking chocolate.
Yeah, we gotta get more diabetes out there because we gotta sell insulin.
Oh jeez. Oh, gentlemen, it's been. When did we do the last episode? It was post the award show.
Saturday. Last Saturday.
No, bro. It was like Monday or Tuesday. Saturday it was supposed to be Saturday, but me and Chad couldn't.
Oh, that was the award show. Yeah, Monday. It was Monday.
Okay, yeah, that's right. When we got back, right? Yeah, I traveled on the sun. Yeah, that's right. And then I apologized to Yanko for not being
for skipping
available.
out on him, ghosting him.
Yeah, look, we've already covered that. That was last week's episode, all right? You can go back and listen to that if you would like. Everybody playing at home. There's been a lot of Counter-Strike that happened in the last week, though, right? I understand that right now, as we are talking, Blast is on Complexity versus Na'Vi, map number 1, second best of 3 of the day, a group stage that actually matters, is on right now. But all of those closed qualifier and open qualifier games have been taking place for the major, and there's been some, I don't want to say interesting results. Like there's been some good games. There's been a lot of matches. There's been some controversies. There's been a lot of good stuff that's happened out there, and we're not too far off now from the major. We're actually getting very, very close, but we still have these blast groups. We got Katowice, then the RMRs, then the major. Is Showdown in between? I think Showdown's before the major as well, isn't it?
Yes,
Might be.
It is.
I have to check the calendar. I'm just having a look right now. But there's...
it's before.
We jump into this year quite quickly. So it doesn't feel... Like last week on the 14th is when the tournament break ended, right? And the year started again. But it just feels like we've been going for a while longer because of those open qualifiers. You see the big result. No major for Big Clan.
No major.
And then Scrawny made a tweet about...
That was a good tweet.
Every time, man. But we talk about this too. And I think we try and point it out from like a what could have been perspective. And I think that's all that Connor was doing as well. And the Germans are all the time, why can't you guys just understand that Tabson, he's made his decision and he wants to play with Big? It's like, no, we understand. It's just stupid. Like, we get it.
We know why he's doing it. He's just wrong. He's ruined his career.
Precisely.
That doesn't mean that he's ruined his life. If he might be perfectly happy, he probably is perfectly happy with his life, but his career could have been so much more.
And I think we all frame it in a way too, where it's like we understand the decision and we admire it to a certain degree. It's just fucking crazy.
I don't admire.
I have a little bit, Jason. I have a little bit.
I admire it. I respect it. It's just like, come on. Like there was such a period where he could have been such a force on.
Bro.
And it's weird. It's weird too having it happen in the era where every national team is going international. Like everyone except for Astralis.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think it's also 12 teams or like 11 teams out of 16 have a chance to qualify, and they couldn't make top 11 out of 16.
Yeah, right. It's pretty bad.
Like they couldn't even get into the last chance thing.
Is that probably the biggest elimination throughout the RMRs? The biggest team that's not making it? Yeah.
Yeah, because they're a partnered team with both events. So even OG made it, bro. Like,
Yeah, even
I know
OG
they got carried.
made it, bro. Like, come on.
Heavy God carried him, but OG
And also,
made it.
Big
Like,
is usually spot on in these qualifiers, so I'm not really sure what was happening. Like, they ended up losing to Nexus 2-0. I mean, they got one round on T side, Vertigo, which was their own map pick, and that was the pistol round. Like, they lost 11 straight.
damn.
It's just not something you would expect from Tabs and Gob B team.
Yeah.
You know the bit that blows my mind the most, though, right? So Mantu's in the roster, and I think I was the guy that started the fake rumor, which I thought was true, because remember back in the day, Mantu played for Alternate Attacks, right? And one of his good mates was Dude, so I assumed, because all of these bloody Europeans are smart cookies, I thought he could speak multiple languages, right? He's got a Polish flag. We know that he's got of British descent as well. And I thought, well, if he's playing in a fucking German team, he must be able to speak German too, right? He should be able to do this. He played in like a couple of German teams. He played with like Panthers as well. Just scrolling through right now, and then Alternate Attacks. But then you go through what we were just talking about with Big and Tabs and overall. Think about the amount of times they've had someone come into the team that isn't a native speaker of the Deutsch, and then they've had to either speak like broken German or broken English or whatever. They had Smuya, they had Zantares. It's like he may as well have just played in an international team. Like it wasn't even a full German team. So where is that even the excuse for things? I know it is Berlin International Gaming. He must get a pretty penny over there, right? Like he must be on a fucking safe house over there to have stayed that long. And it's over now. Like, it's done now. That's the GG, I think. We'll call it. We'll throw in the towel. He can stay over there. He's now... Well, actually, he's only 28. Could he do it? Could he still do it?
No. I don't. I think surely his stock and his value of Dread. It's not like he's lighting things up still to this day.
Yeah, the window is pad. The window has closed.
Like at this point, I think you go younger for sure, unless there'd have to be some extreme circumstance. But yeah, I mean that's the big thing about this decision is it just like kind of defines and turns into like such a huge what if scenario from now on. Like where at one point it was like a conversation piece, now it's just kind of like what could have happened.
Well, it's also a matter of do I even want a guy that has turned down this opportunity for so many years, right? Obviously, being the best is not the most important thing to him, which again, it's all right if a person wants that. But for people whose goal is exactly that, is like, well, then you're not really a good fit, are you? Right?
I see what you're saying. Yeah. For an elite level team, right? I just want to point out Complexity just bottled it from 12-9 up, CT side overpass.
Yeah, they lost a 4-on-2 as well.
overtime.
They lost a 4-on-2 in the last round.
There's a thing that you like, and that's not one of those things. So that's real bad. Alexi and Emma keeping a minute. Fucking hell. Yanko and I were having this conversation about Complexity just before, and I was like, I was saying I think they should be good, but then Yanko was rightfully pointing out that they're not going to be like a trophy contending team, and I feel like Sydney could just be the one-off. Complexity might be condemned to the dirt.
Well, I mean,
now,
Sydney, you
unfortunately.
had half of the teams played CS2 for only 2 days. I mean, it's not like they had a lot more time, but I think it's just by now you would have seen them sort of build on it, right? Like you would have seen actually these players individually are capable of more than what we've seen, and that hasn't really transpired. And then you look at some of the other teams that we think are going to contend, like despite all the issues that, your G2 has or your FaZe has, or maybe, VP and Mouse, the roster changes that they've had, like, do you really think Complexity is going to, like, be above these teams, being able to beat them on a consistent basis? I just don't really see it.
It's hard to see.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I think
It's hard to see.
they're going to be I think they're going to end up just being like a team that makes the occasional playoff, right?
and that would be
like makes
a success probably.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think overall, but this is the thing as well. So we can kind of merge a few conversations here into one, because with these open and closed qualifiers going on, there's been a few upsets. There hasn't been anything crazy. Right now, we're getting tier 1 LAN Counter-Strike with Blast, so we're going to get a chance to like dip our toe in the water and kind of see how things are. But again, teams have different things to show. Like we're going to see Falcons for the first time tonight versus Astralis. So it's going to be a kind of an important debut for the team. Like I think the two of you can speak to this in more recent history than I can, and at this type of a level as well, with different projects kind of being pieced together. But an early win, especially against like a top caliber opponent at a big event, like, even though it is on the group stage, like Australis, could mean a lot, right? Because if they have a good victory there, that kind of confidence from a win like that, it's contagious and it carries through. And if they can also instill fear with like a good win, like strong wins today, that's also a real positive outlook for the team. So, how important would you guys say it is to have good victories out the gate? Like, how much difference could that make to a team like this, do you think?
I mean, it'd be great to have it. I think the problem is in that situation, you probably don't want to put that importance on it, right? Like, you don't want to put that importance on it.
No, I'm not saying that you stress it. I'm not saying it's stress, but I'm saying if it does come to fruition. I think
with the emotional connection of Magisk and Zonic being back playing against Astralis, I think it could be a massive win. And also, I mean, just to show like the potential that you actually have. I mean, you kind of nailed it, head on. Is the confidence boost that it gives you for like the next match is so nice. But it could be a huge leaping off point. Although I guess the question too becomes, how good is Astralis from the outside perspective, because they made the massive roster changes as well.
Oh, they've already won a trophy this year, Jason, so don't you fucking forget it.
I think
they won the Copenhagen game show, whatever the fuck it was called.
Okay. Yeah. I stayed corrected.
Against NIP, right?
Sorry, Copenhagen Gaming Week.
Taking down...
where in the opening game, they took down Lil Mix, featuring such players as Quicks, Brillo, Dex, Lumi, and Seabreeze.
And then in the final, they took down Big Mix, a.k.a. NIP.
Yes. Config, Headtrick, Rez, Esatag, and Alex 2-0.
Oh, boy, NIP got fisted earlier today.
Yeah, but G2, they played fucking Vertigo and Anubis. G2 picked Anubis, vetoed overpass, so NIP picked Vertigo. Rez had an ace in the pistol round, which is probably going to buy him like 3 more months. He's going to survive the next roster shuffle in NIP too, because like, hey, he still got it. Remember that ace against G2? The game we lost 2-0. That was pretty sick.
Boy.
He just needs like a different role, on the team, and he's got it.
They all played badly on Anubis, though, didn't they? I'm just looking at the stats right now. They just got absolutely shat on.
Yeah,
that's
a
10-2 CT
well.
half from G2. Shan Monesha. Next had a pretty good game on map 2 as well. I guess they all did because they destroyed them so badly.
Nico had a really good series too, which makes me very happy.
I think my feelings about teams like NIP, Fnatic, and Co have been quite clearly made. So I don't know how long I should beat this dead horse for. Actually, I won't.
But for a team like Complexity, right? Like, how important is a good start? The problem is they had a good run in Sydney, and then they had a decent run in the fall finals. They lost in the semis. But in between there, even in Thunder Pick Online, then in Atlanta on home turf, they lose 2 times to the Mongols. Right, there's losses to different teams in there. Spirit, Mouse, Furia, right? Like, if it was only to say, they lose to Vitality and FaZe maybe and some of these teams, you would say, okay, I mean, that shit happens. Those are really good teams. They still have to break that barrier. But if they really made that leap, they would have won some of those games that they've lost. So the start of this season for them, it's important to sort of tell them which complexity are they. Are they the complexity that did take that next step and is able to take care of business? For example, in this group, be second behind G2. I mean, arguably, you could say they're the favorite. I don't know. Depends how you look at it. You could make a case for everyone, but probably G2 because of the star power in the team. So, yeah, or are they the complexity that is just the same old complexity, # same old Lions, # brand new Lions, and that they're not going really to do much, and they're going to disappoint you and lose close games like this one, to opponents that you think they're better than at this point. They've improved enough to be better than Navi, for example, and take them down. So
this should be a beatable team. Didn't Navi beat VP the other day, though?
They did.
Yeah, and they were really down to open up both maps, like 8-1 and 9-1. And then they came back on the T side, both maps. I think it was actually Overpass and Anubis. And that's the maps here. So.
And they beat him both maps, went into overtime, which is sick.
Yeah, they managed to grind it out against VP, which is impressive.
A wonderful playing well, right? Like, that kid seems to be taken to the big boy Counter-Strike like a duck to water.
But that's why I say, like, I just don't have I haven't seen enough. Usually it's also from the players themselves, right? Okay, Elish stepped it up in that run for complexity, and also some of the other players played better. But it's too inconsistent, right? Like Floppy seems to have found his groove, and then it's like, well, not really doing all that much. Halzerk still punching tables and, emotions all over the place. That's just not a recipe for success, I feel like they'll have to make post this major cycle like a change or two, and then to take them to that next level. I think we were talking about it, Chad, like potentially getting OC for Halzerk. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I've made that suggestion before, and like I saw some HLTV threads about that being made, and people were like, what the fuck is SPUNJ smoking? I think they were a little bit more harsh in what they said about me in that moment, but I don't know. I see, like, when you were talking about it before, Yank, I think you articulated it very well. Like, Halzerk's highs can be really high, and he can be, like, game-changing when he's feeling it, and he's getting those games where he's getting the gaps and the repeaks are working. But an AWPer, right, like, that's a great ability to have, but you want a strong baseline, right? You want someone who's going to consistently bring you just standard numbers, is going to hit that shot, is going to be able to hold that line, is not going to miss the sitter. And like, I think
he just
OC
missed
had
a sitter in this game, like just the round previous.
And that's going to happen when you're tilting, though, right? Like when your emotions get in the way, especially when you play such an integral role. And that's the thing. And would OC elevate the team? Well, I want to say yes. Obviously, we wouldn't know unless he was actually part of the team. I think he'd be better in complexity than he would be in NRG, though. I think that's a fact.
I think also what I said was like, you want your AWPer to be reliable, and you'd rather have a reliable guy who is even average, but he's reliably average. Obviously you'd like him to be above average, but what I'm going here with is, you can't rely on Halzerk. He'll show up one day and have 30 kills and be really good, and the next day he'll have 5 kills and tilt off the face of the earth and probably influence the energy of other players on the team, right? And anytime you're team building or game planning or building your game, right? If you're a coach or an in-game leader, you're not counting, you're not counting on randomness. Oh yeah, well, we're going to win this game because this game Halzerk is going to have 30 kills. Like, that's not obviously a reliable strategy or a game plan. So you're trying to outplay your opponents and figure out which style fits your players. And I think you're definitely able to do that with OC on the team. I think also the problem was in that Liquid lineup where the last one just wasn't very good, and even in previous ones, like, he wasn't given as much space. And I know I as well have said, given space, you need to take space. Like, if you're good, you'll take space. But I mean, as a new guy on the team and younger and just a little bit more of a quiet personality, playing with the types of players he has, that's like a bit tough for him to do. I feel at this point he's had enough experience in seeing, these different lineups and the different situations like a team can be in, and that he can command a little bit more authority. And I think he can be a good AWPer, man, if he just took a little bit more space and maybe, I guess, had a little bit more of an ego. I think he has the skill to do it.
I think he'd have that ego in this team because he played with a bunch of these guys, right? Like, was it Extra Salt that OC was in with a couple of these names once upon a time, right? So these probably feel more like his peers, whereas being in Liquid, he was around people who are already like established names. So yeah, I can see what you're saying there, and I think that ego might come with that. But we're talking about a potential pipe dream here. Who knows if that's even a possibility? Now, Jason, how well do you know Floppy?
Not super well, but I know. What's up?
First name basis, or
do you think he is?
How religious is he?
He's wearing the cross outside the shirt on the necklace. Is he that religious?
When you're a North American Counter-Strike, you try anything you can, Chad. You do everything.
Jeez. Okay.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Maybe we should ask him. He must be hoping and praying right now because they're about to bottle this from 12-9 up to 16-13 loss.
Maybe he's a Mormon.
Yeah, that'd be painful.
Maybe.
Maybe he's a Mormon.
What is that, Jason?
Yeah.
What do they do?
Mormons?
Yeah.
They wear pajamas. Underneath other clothes. Well, so
Config is a Mormon.
That's a little bit of a joke that may or may not be appropriate. I don't know how things go, but yeah, they wear.
Let's see if you get canceled.
Of course.
I forget what they're actually called, but yeah, they wear like long underwear underneath their clothes. That's all I really know.
Okay.
I tried to break into the Mormon church out in Utah one time on a spring break trip.
What for?
So the Mormon church is like this giant complex in Salt Lake City, and they have these huge like stone walls to it. And like during the day, you can get into like the outer area, and then there's like another inner one, and you can't go into the church unless you're actually a Mormon. So like we went down there one night like idiots and looked at ways we could try and hop the fence, and yeah.
And the rest is history.
We didn't make it. We didn't do it.
Yeah,
the Mormon stopped you.
You're not a Mormon, like they have.
Yeah,
God is on their side there. You know, can't fight God, Jason. Thought you
a temple garment is the garment of the holy priest, or Mormon underwear is a type of underwear worn by adherents of the Latter-day Saint movement. So,
okay, the LDS. Oh, we all know the LDS. Yeah. What about Scientology, Jason? You guys are pretty big on Scientology over there in the United States of America.
Yeah, you can find plenty of places to hop in and get your thetan levels checked.
Okay.
Yeah, you get in there. It's a pay to win, which is always nice if you've got the funding for it, which is super cool. You can skip a lot of stages of the religion.
How much do you have to pay to meet Tom Cruise?
Oh, that's a lot of money. That's up there. That's like simple money, you know. Might even be shroud money at this point.
Do you reckon like Tom Cruise got involved and it's a pyramid scheme and he's making? Actually, why would he need to? He's one of the biggest actors in the entire bloody globe, mate. He's huge.
Yeah,
he's got massive. A Mission Impossible series.
He's the last remaining movie star. He was at one point the last samurai. Now he's the last movie star.
Oh, he was the last samurai.
I bet he's going to make a movie about that as well. Or is that just Mission Impossible? That's what it is?
Yeah, the 2-part Mission Impossible drop that's coming. Yeah.
Well, we've seen the first part, haven't we? The second part, hopefully, it's just as juicy. I just read your WhatsApp message, Jason. Sorry. I just had flashbacks to what we were talking about earlier today, Yanko.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Let's not get into that one, shall we? We don't want to manufacture too much here on the podcast.
Yeah.
Want to keep it authentic.
But, I mean, talking about OC Energy failed to fucking qualify for the RMR.
Oh, no.
In the Americas.
That and the big one. Oh, and 9Z didn't make it either.
Bro,
so Martinez.
What?
Martinez left fucking Movistar to go join 9Z, right? Because I guess he thought that Movistar wasn't going to do anything. Then Movistar like merged with Koi or whatever the fuck it is. So they're probably now in an even better position than they were just as Movistar, just being like a Spanish team. Now it's like this merged organization with a bigger name.
Portugal and Spain.
And now they've qualified without him. So Paul Martinez couldn't get through with Butter at Max and DGT. Who would have thought? That was fucked. I was watching that game, and apparently the day was going for like 15 hours or some shit with all the matches. Their final game was like Red Canids versus 9Z for the 7th spot. So those would be the 3 big names.
It was unreasonable. It was like their third best of 3 of the day, and then it's open quality. It's like online. Why don't you?
Yeah, Greyhound played 3 in a day.
Why don't you just do it the next day? Like, what's preventing you from doing so? Like, you don't have the admins or what? Like, I mean, it is like feels pretty ridiculous. And I think for 9Z, it also tell you, man, these online qualifiers are fucking rough. Like, because just a couple of days prior, they played the IEM Chengdu qualifiers and they beat Red Canids and MIBR 2 times. to qualify for Chengdu. Like they qualified for an IEM, which is not a small feat, and then they can't make it out of the close qualifier, like to get into the major, ultimately losing to the same Red Canids they beat in the Chengdu qualifier. Like, it's wild.
In overtime, both of them in double overtime.
And the problem, they were in the 1-2 bracket because they lost to Legacy. That's the
Cold Zera team.
Cold Zera, and Dumao and all those guys. Like, they lost to them 13-11, and then they lost to Odek, who is Turtle and Wood and a couple of guys that we haven't really seen before, who also made it to the America's RMR. So I just can't believe, man, we still have fucking best of ones. It's like, it's unreasonable with MR12 and this economy. It really is unreasonable to have best of ones.
We're about to have best of ones in Kato though, Yanko, for the play-ins. The opening games are going to be fucking best of ones as well.
I know, and I hate that as well. Like, we shouldn't be having that. Like, it's just I mean, you can say, oh, it's the plane, it's just the first game, you're not eliminated or you don't go through, but still, just screw it, just do it all best of 3. I don't think like it would change all that much. Just had...
Well, there's some big games, like opening matches. The matches for that are available now. Like you look at an opening game, like there's Heroic Astralis as an opening game.
mean, even Caro and all that stuff, dude, the RMR and the major are going to have the same format. Like, the actual major is going to have MR12 best of ones up until the 0220 games. That's those are the problems. Like, again, so crazy to me.
But we're going to see how the new seeding works, right? Like, obviously they've done some stuff with the seeding. So I think it's like higher seeded teams are going to face each other in the opening rounds.
Yeah, they changed.
There
so
was
it's
an
not
issue
like
with that before,
first
right?
place 16.
Is this for the
it's
RMR?
First place 9, 2 plays 10, and I think that that's the change.
Yeah.
But also, man, they added this. They changed like the matchups, like the way which seed plays who. But they're using the ranking from like December. They haven't updated the ranking before they seeded the teams for the RMR, which is also a month away from now. So you're using a 2-month-old ranking. That's crazy. Why? There's been games that have been played. Why not updated? Like Falcons is the lowest rated team in their group, just like, that happened last year with like either G2 or FaZe, something like that. Yeah, with G2 because they came from the close qualifier, right?
But it's the same with the EPL, right? Being announced so early. I think for the major, it's a bigger case to be made for sure. I'm just curious though. Isn't one of the big determining factors for the ranking for Valve? Isn't it prize money? So like, how many events have come to their conclusion to make? I guess the only events that will have come to their conclusion is the closed qualifiers, right? So.
Yeah, but that's
what
fine.
else has really happened?
Yeah, but also what happens is you're looking at...
But wouldn't Falcons still be the lowest seed because they haven't played any event, so they're not on the rankings whatsoever? Like, how would you seed them?
I think you look at the players, you combine the players, no?
Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't think that factors into the way that Volvo have their fucking rankings done. Like that's one of the problems here. It's like a prize money thing, isn't it? Is one of the more key determining factors of all of this, and it's a new roster that's come together. So I don't know. I haven't looked at it in a lot of detail.
Yeah, but you have
like
the end score in there. I mean,
yeah,
no,
I see.
That's why
I'm
they're
with you.
in there. So why not rank them accordingly, right? Like, and sure, the close qualifiers themselves don't have prize money, but you beat teams and then you get points based on how much prize money have they earned in the last, I don't know how long the exact formula is. So you would still get and lose points for the games, despite not actually winning prize money for placing in a certain position,
Yeah, it does seem crazy to have like Heroic and Falcons as the two lowest seeded teams of their groups, when they're obviously not the two worst teams in their respective groups. Like, that's like a no-brainer, right?
And I guess here,
but then
it gets better for what you said, that they won't play the first seed, they'll play the 8 seed, Yeah,
because the initial matchups are out, right? So the PGO put that out already today. That came out a little bit earlier because there's one of those websites, there's like major.im or whatever the fuck it is, with like the calculator up already. So you can even see into the match determining thing if you wanted to go through and be that much of a geek before all this stuff happens. But all like the groups are set and the opening matches are set as well.
Which is where it makes it easier. I'm looking at it now. It's like 3D Max plays Falcons, and FaZe as the first seed plays 9 Pandas. So the matchups aren't terrible. G2 plays Into the Breach, which they'll lose, of course. Somehow.
Imagine that. That would be absolutely wild. No, but this is the thing. And looking at these groups, so I'll just read them out for everybody playing at home. Group A, it's loading, is FaZe, VP, Na'Vi, G2, Eternal Fire, Amcal, which is Nickelback, Travis, Forrester. Those
One
kind of
win,
blokes.
basically.
Bet Boom, 3D Max, 9 Pandas, Saw, Movistar Koi, Into the Breach, NIP, X Thunderflash, which is like the one and only in demo, Fnatic, and Falcons. That's Group A. And then Group B, which I think is probably the slightly more stacked out of the two, Vitality, Mouse, Spirit, Monty, Cloud9, Apex, Astralis, Precy, Gamer Legion, Guild Eagles, Ents, Ecstatic, Para, OG, Nexus, and Heroic. I feel like Para and Nexus and like X Thunderflash, those are some very unique names to be seeing here, but there was always like with fucking 21 teams going through the closed qualifier, you were always going to get a couple of bogey names, weren't you?
Sure.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I'm excited that Dupree gets to keep fighting for his major streak. That's cool.
Well, that's in that fucking decider. Those 6 teams, the only team that didn't make it was Sync, the Estonians, right? So you had so many chances to get through. I felt bad for 3D Max, who ended up being the lowest seed out of Sync, Pera, and themselves. So the last 3 teams. And 3D Max had to sit and wait, and then had to play another best of 3 at the end of the day for their life to get through. And I think 3D Max, again, this is obviously the seeding stuff is that's determined by how the matches went throughout. So I get it, but it's like out of all those 3 teams, 3D Max were the best. So I feel like they should have had the first shot at Pera or at Sync or whoever it was. So there's just some stuff that comes a little bit strange. I know there's people in the Discord asking us to discuss like major formats and all that kind of stuff. I think the thing is there's a lot of stuff that goes into this. Like Yanko, you were just asking the question about, oh yeah, why do they have to play all those games on one day? I think maybe because it was the weekend, and then when you move around to Monday, not all of these guys are like full-time professional gamers. So that could be one thing that has to be thought about.
Take a fucking sick day, bro. It's like if you want to make it into the major, take a fucking sick day. What are we now? Like, I don't care. I don't care.
Right. There's a way around that, right? With better scheduling and more information coming out earlier, so people could plan better around it. I think this is the thing. Like at one point, there has to be best of ones, right? Like I think the open qualifiers probably have to have best of ones, but the closed qualifiers, okay, maybe there's room for a different conversation. But then things are going to be compounded, and we're going to need more days. But maybe you can make an argument for the closed qualifiers, you have best of ones. But for the RMR and the major, I feel like I'm on board the best of 3 train. Even though as a caster, I like doing best of ones because of the excitement curve. You just get to the most exciting point and it's contained. But from obviously we're talking about one of the things that we value when we watch good Counter-Strike teams is just how good a team can be across a plethora of different maps, right? You can be a one-map Andy specialist team, but that's not going to win you the trophy. That'll win you a couple of upset games, but then you're going to get exposed when it comes to the best of 3s because you're going to have holes in your map, or you're going to have a couple of weaknesses. And Counter-Strike is a game that's played across 7 maps at any given time, right? And those maps hopefully chopping and changing after every season. So, best of, and that's one of the reasons that I'm not completely against best of 5s, is because for me, I look at that for the championship game. You're really testing the depth of these teams, and you're going deep, and you're testing like, do they get lethargic? Do they start to gas by the time they get to map 4 or 5? Can they go deep in those rounds type thing? And then the Counter-Strike gets sloppier, come late, and there's lots of fun. But I'm with Yanko in the sense that I think best of ones, we should hopefully have them eventually abolished for the RMRs and the major themselves. And the reason I say for the RMRs is because that is potentially the biggest tournament of the year. You qualified the RMRs and you get yourself into the sticker money, which, as we've seen with Paris, can be huge. We know that might not always be the case.
Crazy.
Something fucking crazy the HLTV reported on, didn't they?
And also, you get a spot at the next RMR.
No, you need to come top 16.
Okay, so it's top 16. Yeah, my bad.
Top 16 in the major and retain your core, and you get a spot at the next RMR. So that's the benefit of coming top 16 at the major, as opposed to just placing like in the bottom. Yeah, the bottom 8 teams.
I think it's just.
I'm just ready to be done with Swiss.
Open.
Can we be done
Exactly.
With Swiss?
Why is this obsession with the Swiss system? Why does everyone think this is the best? This is the worst.
I'm so over it.
This is one of the worst like formats for the amount of teams and the type of qualifiers and like we're running.
And the amount of data we have on all the teams.
Exactly. It's like it's so ridiculous. And someone started it so that it's different than what other people are doing, and now everyone is like going for it without even thinking.
We've touched on this. Yeah.
I know, but I'll just say you can even do open qualifiers, best of ones. It's fine. There's like so many teams to get through the teams that sign up and
we've
to
heard more than 1,024. Yanko hashtag bleed rule.
Hashtag bleed rule. So that's okay, because also with the ranking, the teams will be in close qualifiers, so it's only like either completely new teams, which then again, if you're any good, you're supposed to make it through the open qualifier at the very least. So yeah, I'd still do close qualifiers, best of 3, man, all the way. It's online, so it's not really costing you anything. Maybe it lasts a day extra, and you just make a GSL best of 3 groups, bro, and that's it. First out of the group goes through, and then depending on the spots, right? So you will have, if it's like now, you need 11 teams to go through. I mean, the first and the second in the group go through, and then you have a last chance for the teams that placed third or whatever. You know,
I'd be down for that because it would mean more Counter-Strike that we can all whack on.
And then
the
you can go, and then obviously if you have the proper seed, you can see the groups normally and have like whatever 4 groups of 4 or whatever it is, and then again 2 teams go through, right? I think teams would much rather. The thing is, it's double elimination. In Swiss, it's triple elimination, right? Because you need to lose 3 games and be out. But team would much rather play double elimination if it means it's going to be best of 3 than have an extra chance and it's best of 1. Everyone hates randomness. And of course, one of this is the same story every time. People say, oh, you only complain about Swiss because the favorites didn't make it through, or like a big team didn't make it through. No, it's also unfair for the underdog to expect for them to win 3 games. You know, like it's not going to happen. It happens more often now because of best of ones and bad seeding, where they don't even have to beat 3 good teams to make it through. They beat like 1 okay team and 2 bad teams because of God knows what happens with bullshit system and everything else, right? So I think this is just way better, but no one will ever do it because I don't know.
I think I wonder. I mean, that's something I guess that I wonder how much leeway there is, because I know TOs have to like pitch the entire major concept. I wonder if there's flexibility on the format or if the format's kind of required.
So that's the thing. If you look at the Valve rulebook, right, this is some of the interesting stuff in there. When I was reading it the other day, I was kind of going through some of the basic stuff when we were doing the HLTV confirmed episode to start off the year. And there's some interesting stuff in here. Like, so within the opening, like the forward or the foreword, it says this is towards the tail end. This document does not contain all of the rules of the tournament, only the ones we require to be uniform across all major events. For the complete body of our tournament rules for your event, contact the tournament organizer. And I was trying to go through and find out where it says that it has to be best of 3s or best of 1s, and I couldn't find it. So like, for example, even if we just had Swiss, which is what in the rules, it has to be Swiss. So in the rules so it says here, format, rules, procedures, and definitions that pertain to the format and structure of the competition. Format major, opening stage, Swiss bracket 16 teams, elimination stage, Swiss bracket 16 teams, playoff stage, single elimination bracket, top 8 from the elimination stage. So it feels like at the moment, unless you can pitch something different and they add it to the rule book, that is the format. Right there, right? Because that is in the rulebook. But in terms of like best of 3s or best of 1s or whatever, I was unable to find, and if someone finds it, just fucking paste it in our Discord and say, here you go, Chad, this is where you missed it. But I couldn't find where it said specifically in the rules that the establishing games had to be best of 1 and the deciding matches had to be best of 3. So if there's something, that's not said and all the matches can be best of 3, which we know is possible because Star Ladder have done that before.
Oh yeah, I
right?
forgot about those fucking events.
Yeah, right. They did it at their major as well.
I'd welcome it for a major. I'd welcome it for a major.
But they did it for the major.
Okay.
Belek was a bit ridiculous because we went to like a Russian holiday home in fucking Turkey, mate, and it was just out of control. Like it was set back in the late 80s. Some of the pictures, like that, there was like a photo booth place as you would walk from your rooms out to the pool, and they were the cringiest fucking photo things I've seen in my entire life. Like it felt like people were posing for them knowing it was a fucking gag. Like it was making me gag. That was just some fucking next level stuff out there in Belek.
That was a wild event, dude. That hotel had like their own homemade booze. They didn't even have like standard alcohol. It was like, yeah, we make our own. We make our own alcohol. Here's our homemade gin. Here's our homemade.
It
vodka.
might make you go blind. Good luck.
Am I going to die when I drink this? Is it all over?
I remember one night I walked out there to meet you boys when we were outside. You guys were outside, and there was like some fucking like club dance floor thing near the ocean or whatever. I was like, what is this?
Oh, so wild. What an event. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it would have been nice if they had a nice hotel, but it was
gross.
Fucking, to use Zoomer language, it was mid as fuck. Or sorry, mid AF. It was mid AF, everybody. That was yeah. No, but I streamed, I don't know if you boys tuned into it. I was surprised none of you came to join me. I was here on TeamSpeak. You know, you could have come and chatted. Me and Aaron watching a bunch of games. I was streaming some of the closed qualifier matches. I didn't do any of the open ones. I said I would, but I played too many Faceit games. But then with the closed, I was streaming some of the closed stuff. I did a few of the Aussie games as well earlier in the morning. I did some of the Greyhound matches. Greyhound lost in the best of one. So in the up, because in Australia it was 8 teams and it was, so not Swiss. So it was like a double elimination bracket and the upper bracket was all best of ones. And then the lower bracket AK elimination matches was best of 3s. And they lost a best of 1 to Bad News Kangaroos, which is, they were called Vertex, but Vertex is no longer sponsoring or supporting or whatever. But it's like Bad News Bears, Bad News Eagles, Bad News Kangaroos. Like it's anyone who doesn't have an org just is getting a shitload of bad news apparently. So they lost the best of 1 to them on Inferno, and I was like, wow, okay, like they've been pushed here. And then over the course of the next 2 days, they had to play 4 best of 3s, 1 on the Saturday and then 4 on the Sunday. So they played, 1 on the Saturday and 3 on the Sunday. They played 3 consecutive best of 3s on the Sunday, and they just fucking swept everybody. And by the time they got to the final, it just looked like the ex-Vertex guys were scared. Like, I was watching, I was like, what the fuck are they doing? They weren't taking map control. They were rotating in late. They had no idea how to seesaw. I was like, what is going on? And then, like you were saying, Jason, with these IEM Chengdu qualifier matches, they finished yesterday the closed qualifier RMR stuff for the Oceanic stuff. And then today, they were again playing against the opening games was Greyhound versus Bad News Kangaroos and Rooster versus Mind Freak, like matches that just went on 2 days ago. It's crazy how like back to back these online qualifiers are. But you couldn't stream the ones today because ESL don't give out IPs apparently for closed qualifiers of online fucking things. Even for Australia.
They
what
had
the fuck's that about?
Yeah, I noticed they had their own broadcast the other night, which I thought was weird, was unique. But okay,
why are they paying for that? Do you feel like get any sponsor metrics out of that? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, maybe partner numbers for their sponsors that they have to fulfill.
Someone sold it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll stream to 100 people, but we'll throw those metrics in there. Sick.
The NA one had a decent amount of viewership. I mean, I don't really know.
Maui
was
been killing it, mate. Oh, yeah, Maui for the Chengdu.
Yeah, Chengdu. The ESL one had like 6,000 people watching the NA.
But that's because Liquid was playing.
Yeah.
A team of actual note.
They lost to M80. Yeah.
Yeah. What's worse, being big and not making the major, or being Liquid and losing to M80?
I think the painful part about the M80 loss is obviously you don't make it to Chengdu, but I don't think that loss altogether doesn't really tell me anything crazy. Like it's no alarm bells going off for Liquid or anything like that. Well,
that's the thing. Somebody said after last week's episode where I kind of critiqued Liquid's. No, did I talk to you guys about this? I critiqued Liquid's loss, and was like, oh, it's a little bit concerning. They lost to M80 on overpass in the best of 1, right? And they got slammed. They lost like 13-3. I was like, you're saying 16. It was like 13-3 or something along those lines. And then someone in the Discord was like, oh, SPUNJ, you were letting G2 off the hook for online, but you're not letting Liquid. And I think like the way that I would justify that is like Liquid is like a team of elite level players in a region that is not very good.
I actually didn't even last episode when you did that. I didn't even take that as like an actual critique. I think I felt like you were just poking a little bit of fun to try and get a rise out of me. To be honest with you, when I heard that go down, but maybe you were. I don't know.
No, but it's like it's disappointing.
Yeah,
I thought they would be better than they are right now.
Well, I think it's a couple things. Like one, it's obviously good to see more North American teams able to be competitive. Even I mean, I know it's online. It's
two
good to
North
see
Americans on the roster.
I know it's nice. Well, I mean on the M80 side of things, it's good to see an M80.
Yeah, no, but there's still only 2 North Americans on the roster. Swisher and fucking
that's right, Manx.
Swisher and Rek. Manx is Danish.
All right, well, hey, it's good to see a team
German.
with an America's core be
and
competitive.
Malbs is from, I'm going to get this wrong, is Malbs
Guatemala. Yeah.
Guatemala.
And he had a fucking series there as well. I was telling you, man.
Yeah, he did.
I'm telling you, it's good.
Malbs is the truth.
The truth.
But I was watching that game the other night, and I don't know. Liquid seemed like a very. I think Cadian is obviously in a hard place trying to get everyone on the page of how he wants to play. So I think he was missing some shots that I didn't normally see him miss when he was in Heroic. I think they were really struggling to get some of the gamble stacks and the timings of the way that Cadian wants his teams to like rotate and move around the map to try and catch opponents off guard. Some of their timings were a little bit off. They didn't seem particularly comfortable with each other in clutch situations. So I think most of the issues that I saw to the Liquid side were like things that get solved by playing together a little bit more and are solvable problems, not anything that I was like, oh shit, like this team just on a basic level is not functioning. It's more just like they haven't come together probably as fast as we would like, but these are all problems that can reasonably be fixed and solved.
I think also
listen to this optimism.
I think we'll know much I mean, much more. We'll definitely know more after Blast, right? Because this was their first official games and it was all online. So now that they've had that, they will have some data to look back and see, okay, maybe we need to tweak this, tweak that. And in Blast, then obviously they'll maybe make some small changes and we'll see how they do on LAN against some of these teams. So obviously we won't see them in Kato, unfortunately, which is
or in Chengdu.
Or in Chengdu.
Or in Chengdu. Well, to counter my previous optimism as well, I wouldn't be super surprised to see Liquid kind of just bomb out of these Blast groups when you think about
already backing down, already backpedaling. The Jason Moses O2 special.
I think when you come into this, all their practice so far has been in North America, which is just like a lower quality and not the way that Counter-Strike is played over in Europe. So I think when you come here to Blast and you have a travel day and you have one full day of like being able to practice in Europe before this event begins, I think those are the exact conditions to bomb out of a Blast. So it wouldn't shock me. It would still be disappointing, but it wouldn't surprise me in the least.
Their opening game is against Spirit, so that's not going to be an easy beat by any stretch of the imagination.
Donk and Magix.
That's right.
Donk.
So,
that's right.
Maybe.
Okay. So they should win. They've got Hallie and some guy called Baz.
Yeah, they should win.
Who the fuck's Baz?
Don't sleep on
Baz. Baz is 20. Is Baz from like he's from the academy? Come on, Baz. Baz. Why do I think of Baz Luhrmann? Who's Baz Luhrmann? Let me go. Baz Luhrmann.
Wasn't he
Baz
one of the
Luhrmann.
astronauts?
Mark Anthony Baz Luhrmann is an Australian film director, producer, writer, and actor.
All right, close.
With project, okay,
very close.
Yeah, Baz Luhrmann. He apparently he directed the Elvis movie.
Cool.
He's 61 years of age, from Sydney, Australia, born in
He was
1962.
also the inspiration for Buzz Lightyear.
Did you watch the Elvis movie, Chad?
No, I haven't watched the Elvis.
So you're not
movie,
even
no.
supporting Aussie cinema.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I didn't know who Baz Luhrmann was a second ago. It was just a name that existed in my head. So, oh dear. Yeah, actually, the Spirit news. Now that you've said it, Yanko, I'm back to being mildly depressed.
Yeah,
Oh, well done, Yanko.
I'm really good at that. I'm really good at making people feel depressed.
Yeah, but even if they beat Spirit, they got FaZe in the next matchup for that upper final. Like their group. I mean, with FaZe at these stand-ins, actually, this group is possible to get out of. I forgot about the stand-in situation as well.
Spirit situation's really just sad. Well, at least we'll see them at the RMRs, right? And I suppose if it means that Donk and Magix can get their visas for the major, which is the end goal, then this is something which sucks because Spirit just paid what I would assume is a handy amount of money to be in this event.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Can't even play. Oh, that's so fucked. They just paid what, a couple of $100,000 at least, right, to be in this event, and the visa situation didn't get sorted. What in the actual fuck?
I think you can get a little bit of a rebate on that action. Hit them back.
Well, maybe
up,
you should have sorted the fucking visas out at the same time, huh? Like, Jesus.
Bro, did you? I was just scrolling through Twitter, and there's a guy who replied, Messi also posted a photo of the veto that they were doing. And a guy replies below, is Complexity the smallest team in Tier 1? Question mark. Juggernaut? Question mark. More like Fellowship. Bro, that's funny. No,
they actually might be the smallest team, though.
Jason, can
they might actually be the smallest team.
Yeah,
who would be smaller than Complexity?
They're pretty short, aren't they? I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Let's get tape measures and start measuring teams. It's just when we go to events now. Just go stand next to it, whatever.
I mean, this doesn't apply for this event, but how small is Spirit? That picture of Donk and Blame F was pretty funny looking as well.
Well, Donk's a 16-year-old boy.
Yeah,
so.
that's true.
he's still.
I didn't know.
He's just a teenager.
Yeah, I didn't know we were having little grace factors to this competition.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, but I don't know how much Donk's going to grow. To be honest with you, how much could we expect little donkey boy to grow? I don't know. If he's gaming all the time like this, who knows? Anything's possible. Anything is possible. The smallest team. Who would be the tallest team?
Have to be one of the Danish lineups, wouldn't it?
It would have been the old VP. Taz fucking huge. Snacks was beast mode. Cuban when he was coaching, pretty tall. Yeah. JL's really tall.
Sure.
Who else is? But nobody feels like they're like a giant. JL is a big boy. Blame's a big boy. More of his broadness.
Horizontally, yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
we going horizontal or vertical with this comparison.
Do you think that Blame could curl Yabby in one arm and Stown in the other?
Yes.
I would pay good money to see that.
I think he
Blame
could. You'd have to like attach some handles onto him somehow so he could, do it properly. But I bet he could do it.
That would be great to watch. I would really like to watch that. To be honest with you.
What a ridiculous mental image.
Yeah, you can see it now, can't you?
Bro,
Stown's actually pretty tall. Now that I think about it,
yeah, I get Stown. No, Stown's not.
Stown's tall.
Is he?
Yeah. He's just slender.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like he is. But what about Mouse? Are Mouse short? Mouse could be short.
Mouse are pretty short. Torji's short.
They're just average. Maybe they're just average.
Yeah, who knows?
Why are we talking about players' height?
This will be something for Katowice. This is a content.
Yeah,
It's
content.
content.
I feel like it's EPL
That's
content, isn't it?
To bring it back
Write it down.
to Blast really quick. I know we've kind of talked about like they have stakes now because they've introduced more teams into it and altered the format a little bit to make matches a little bit more meaningful. But it still feels like the biggest thing you're playing for in Blast is just avoiding the showdown for scheduling reasons. Like, how much would it suck to have to go to like, the schedule is crazy. Like, Blast groups into Katowice, into the RMR, and then you have to go to the showdown, and then right after the showdown is the major. Like, that showdown is just always at such like a weird place. Yeah, but it's always it's still just playing in that event, I think would fucking suck.
Well, I mean,
yeah, but I guess it depends. Is it even valued at that point?
Yeah, having to play in it would suck, but I don't think teams
It's
would
not
really
the inconvenience
care.
of travel.
Yeah, and I think, for example, the last one was they played it on CSGO when CS2 was already out, so teams didn't really care all that much.
Sure.
Like, sure, you want to qualify, but you have bigger priorities. I think it's the same case here. Like, obviously, you'd want to be in London and play the fall finals, but you have bigger priorities than the showdown, right?
It does get to the point, though, I suppose, like when we're talking about this in the run of the year, you're bang on. But like, let's say that the team doesn't go through showdown and also like fucks up at the major. Then by the time you get to the end of the season, if you're not in Dallas and then you're not in the spring finals, then you end the season after Pro League?
I think what might happen is you might have a decent team not make it out of the RMR and have to play the showdown, right? And then for that team, it's really important, right? I mean,
the Super Bowl.
Exactly. So I think we'll have an example of two like that, which will probably help the showdown not be complete garbage.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing as well. The showdown bit, like, this is what I'm excited about for 2025, is the fact that a lot of these events are going to be decoupled, right? So I'm not sure if it's going to work the same way for Blast by the time they get there.
I hope not.
And that would be much better, right? Because if it was a standalone event of some kind, because remember with the Blast, it used to just be another studio event, but then they moved it online with the Hand of the Pandy and have never gone back. But Blast, when it was Pro Series, it was just a bunch of tour stops, remember? It was just a bunch of stops along the way with 6 teams or 8 teams or however many fucking teams there were. And they were just events that would play over 2 days in an arena. And it was like Counter-Strike being done as exhibition matches, essentially, if you're going to break it down, because the competitive side of things was a bit more on the bullshit level. But that right there, like if they could go back to more tour stop stuff, and even if it meant it was only going to be like an 8-team event in place of the showdown, they ran like a 16 event for the bigger ones, like a London or a Copenhagen, and then for some of the smaller ones along the way, because that's like ESL run, I guess they're 16 team events, aren't? Oh no, it is 8-team events for the Challenger. The Challenger event's 8-team, like 2 groups of 4, and then 2 teams go through from each side, and then it's a single elimination bracket for like 2 semis and a final.
I think Atlanta was. I think that's
you could do that if you were Blast, and I think that would go down pretty well, depending on the caliber of teams that you're going to get and the type of venue that you're going to try and run things in. So that would be nice, because then it won't have this connection that we're talking about, Jason, that you're saying, it's going to suck to do. And also, if you are a partner team, you have to play in that showdown. Like, I remember... who was it? It was like Vitality one year were already qualified for the World Finals, right? But they still had to play in the showdown to try and get to the fall finals, but they didn't want to play in the showdown or some shit, and they kind of had to, or whatever it was. I remember talking to Apex about it, and it didn't have a choice, so they just had to play it, even though they wanted to prioritize other things.
You have to play it, but you don't have to try.
That's true. That is true.
You can just treat it.
Yeah.
You can just treat it as your scrims for the day alongside something else. You know.
Yeah, that is true. That's yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, well, obviously TOs
love that.
hate that mindset,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah,
is
but
like the
when
one you kind of have as the player in the team.
Exactly, but I'm gonna do what's best for my team, not what's best for Blast, which is
Sure.
why they hated my ass when I was coaching FaZe, is because they would have all these weird shit, and I would be like, "Why this? Why that?" And they're like, "They really like asking questions." It's like, I really hate doing stupid shit. Is more my line of thinking. Even back then, I told them your format doesn't make any sense because they had that extra winners game on top, which they needed an extra game to fill the schedule. But for the teams, it sucks.
Yeah.
I remember Jason will remember this. Actually, you might have still been. I don't know if you were coaching at that point, Yanko, or if you were still with us, but I remember one event. I think, Jason, it might have been the one that was in Portugal or the one that was in Spain. I forget which one we did. And that Blast would always do like a pre-meeting, and Nicholas would head it, and then you'd have a couple of the other blokes there who would be there, like
Answering
not
questions.
Steen, that other fucking guy. I forget his name. Anyway. They would talk about the format, and we were talking about the format with them one time, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we think we have the most competitive format," and we were like, "Well, no, you don't have the most competitive format. You got the most cutthroat format." And like we were trying to explain the difference of like competitive and cutthroat to them and stuff like that because of the best of ones that they had in there and like the way it would work. And I remember that I was like, "Holy shit! Like, what are we talking to, and who are we talking to right here?" Because they weren't Counter-Strike people, right? They were just fucking people.
I don't know if Steen is a person. He might be a lizard.
Steen's all right. He's okay.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Well, he's got to deal with some players with some they're big ego players over there at the Stralis. So he's the man who's got to deal with those guys.
He's at least not a
lizard.
lizard, maybe a frog.
Well, no,
He's still some kind of a reptile, is he? Is a frog a reptile or is it like an amphibian?
I think it's amphibian.
Okay.
but he presents as a human. That's what they all do. They just hide and have an alternate life in the sewers.
But now we've merged into some like fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles lifestyle in the sewers, mate. How did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles become? Oh, I guess
the ooze.
They mutated, didn't they?
The ooze, the green ooze.
The ooze.
The green ooze.
Yeah.
The Secret of the Ooze, Chad, is movie number 2.
Oh my god!
Right before
Wait,
Turtles in Time.
are you being serious right now? Are you that up? to
Yeah,
date
the
with
live
the
action
lore?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, it was they got green ooze spilled into the
think
sewers.
one
There
of-
was a turtle and a rat.
One of them is
And the rat
actually
became
like got a
Splinter.
good grade. One of those movies, no?
Did it?
Dude, they were all awesome. Like I don't care what anyone said. I don't care what rating it got, like critically or officially, but like they were all great.
Man, I love how all over the place we've been today with like the line of conversation. 1 second we're talking about serious Counter-Strike stuff, and the next we're talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle live action movies. And man, it's too good. I actually am thoroughly enjoying it. It's like we've all woken up today with, well, Jason's woken up recently.
Yeah, I certainly have.
We've been awake. Yanko and I are having a meeting before this.
I have a meeting after this. So yeah.
Who's your meeting with?
Katowice media team for the media days for some of the longer
Frank?
form content. Yeah, I think Frank's gonna be there.
Yeah, we were having a meeting with Frank as well.
I'm doing like the solo podcast with some of the teams, like with 3 teams on the second media day.
Yeah.
I've heard
Ask
about
them if
that.
we can use the set after they're done for our own thing.
He was just like, yeah, this time around, remember when you guys did those like 1 hour long podcasts with like 2 people in the teams? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, this time it's just going to be you. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll come prepared for
and
that.
the whole team, right?
Yeah, it's like 4 people of the team and me for an hour.
Are they gonna stand
And I got
behind you
3
for
teams.
the photo before you start?
Yeah, on a couch? Maybe.
What teams you got, Jason?
I got some doozies. I got FaZe, which is
my
big
God.
boy
That's
stuff. Falcons.
Cool. Well, it'd be nice to see them all together because you get interesting team dynamics. You kind of get like in
I
jokes
have a
and
really
stuff.
good question though.
For
Yeah,
FaZe?
Go on.
No, for like a tier list. Tier list of
Wait, for us?
yeah, like for Jason, for example, because he's doing this content.
Okay.
So ranking like teams as in which like what would be the I can't.
Here we go.
What would be the worst team to have to do content with?
What would be the worst team to have to be gangbanged by?
What the fuck, Yanko?
Good Lord Almighty!
How did we get here?
Well, because of that image of just 4 people standing behind him and he's on the couch, right?
Oh, I didn't get that. Oh.
Yeah, it's a reference to the thing. So I'm just thinking now Jason has to do this content with these teams.
Chad, let's be real. That does not, the fact that you just got the joke does not make this any better of a question.
No, it doesn't make it any better at all.
Your first pick, Jason, if it had to be done. It has to be an NA team for the emotions, no?
Yeah, that's the only way I could accept it. And I have to win afterwards. Oh, I can't answer that question, Yanko. I don't even know where to take it.
His mind's racing right now. He can't work out if he wants a tender short team like Complexity or a big burly team like Australia. He's just really...
I probably wasn't supposed to ask that question, but, you know.
But fuck it. Here we are.
Fuck it.
I thought you were going to ask something like, you know,
what are the hardest teams to talk to, like, do content with?
Yeah, like...
And instead I just asked who is the hardest team. Full stop.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Look, to answer not Yanko's question, but Jason's and my train of thought, I would say a team like the Mongols would be really fucking difficult without a translator, mate. That one would almost be impossible. I don't know how you would do that one. Who the fuck are Rebels? Oh, it's the Polish team. They changed name?
Yeah. Okay. They said that in the meeting chat, but...
Oh, yeah. Well, there was too many presentations.
There was a lot of presentations. Still more to come.
Yeah, well, where did they hear about Team BB?
That's true.
Shit. So, yeah, okay.
Should we... Complexity's on map too. I was going to say, should we talk about some of the other blast groups that are going to be coming up?
Yeah, we
G2 has an easy group, man. They had, NIP, I don't know if anyone considers them like an opponent. Like,
no, I don't want to keep punching down on NIP. I'm just gonna leave them alone. They're in the event. I'll leave them. You guys can rag on them.
No, I got.
Oh yeah, now I look like a complete asshole if I keep doing it.
No, it's just I do it too often.
I feel like I don't. I feel like just for G2, even with the change and whatnot, I just think they still have to win this group, sort of. That's the expectation for me, right? Like for them to go through in number 1. I think that's also their easiest path to qualifying for the spring finals. I think.
Although I'd say, Navi's been they've been on the right path. They've been looking better and better.
But I would still put G2 over them, right?
Sure.
Or at least I'd want to put G2 over them because But
that's not like a secured win, right? Like G2 NIP, you think like there's like a 5% chance NIP
it's
can
not a
upset
secured
that?
win,
Yeah.
but the way I look at G2, and this is the thing, like there's been a lot of negative press around them, which I suppose I accidentally contributed to, even though I never said anything about the players. But the next JKS thing gets a lot of attention, like, oh, JKS is a better player, and I think we would all agree with that, but I don't think that Nexa is going to hurt the team's chances overall of winning a group like this. I would still have G2 considering the names on the team, and I think Nexa can definitely contribute, and especially, let's say, if the mood in the camp is good, I think they can definitely stomp through this group. Monacy's already showing really good form in their opening game, and again, it was against NIP that we're looking at as almost a non-issue, but that's what you want to see. 2 pretty dominant maps, a 13-7 and a 13-2. That's great. That's exactly what you want to see against a team like NIP. Yeah. So, like, I just think, and I've seen also people talk about this before when we've mentioned it. Like, oh yeah, they've got. I've said things like, yeah, they got Nico and Monacy. Like, they're going to be those 2 players if they pop off. People go, oh yeah, but when's Monacy done this? When's he done that? It's like the guy was. What was Monacy like 5th in the world with the HLTV's rankings? 6th? Was he 6th? Was he 5th?
I thought he was.
Well, there was a guy in the Discord that's just like was just refusing to use his eyes. And like look at the facts. He was like, I can't remember really Monacy in any of the important games, like sort of carrying G2. And then I give a couple of maps, like the last map in the grand final of Cologne.
I was gonna say, wasn't he a beast in Cologne?
Pretty big tournament, I feel like, pretty big game, pretty important map. A couple of upper bracket games like that put them in the semifinal directly as well. It's like, that's not that's not that much. Like, that's not enough. I'm like, what do you expect? Like, you expect him to have plus 30 KD while the rest of his team completely sucks, and to beat like he said it was only against like Vitality in groups for Cologne, who also turned out to be the best team in the world like a couple of months later. It's like people just don't want to when they have an opinion, like sort of, or for a reason they hate someone or love someone. It's like they refuse to look at the data, and they just have this opinion that cannot be moved.
Yeah, well, I
Nobody
think,
likes being wrong, Yanko. Nobody likes being wrong.
no, but it's also one of these things, though, right? Like where we talk about the certain events and what they mean. Obviously, we look at players when they're big game players. But as much as HLTV's top 20 got a lot of flack this year from the community, you still had Nico and Monacy deeply embedded in the top 10. I'm pretty sure Monacy was 5.
4.
Right,
Yeah.
wasn't Spinks 4?
No. Monacy was 4.
Monacy was 4, so Spinks was 5. Okay. So and Nico was 2.
Yeah.
So they had,
Nico
they had
sick year.
2 players in the top 5 or in the top 4.
Didn't Striker come out and say that like 2 wasn't even really contested? Like it was pretty big for Nico to Rops.
I think to Rops, yeah. Like because there's no doubt. Like I think still finding their feet in CS2 definitely. Well, maybe not Monacy, but I think the rest of them is going to take a little bit of time to kind of find that approach. And you know, one of the other sentiments that I liked from the award show was a lot of in-game leaders. Like Apex made on multiple occasions like comments regarding in-game leaders and not getting he didn't even use himself as the example. He was using Hooksy as the example. Like during the speech he gave, he was talking about it being like, yeah, and like Hooksy, like the last time G2 won a trophy is when I was there, and then I don't think Hooksy gets enough credit. They won trophies with him there and stuff. And it's like, I think this is the thing, because it's not reflected in stats. It's really one of these things that the public maybe miss a lot, but we know how much work in-game leaders do in teams in terms of like controlling the rounds. Obviously, you want to instill your players with as much information as you can so that they can make the correct decisions like of info plays and stuff that they need to. But the caller is playing high-level chess against another high-level chess player. Like, I love watching games when we get like a Hooksy, a Stappy, a Carrigan, an Apex going toe-to-toe, because they're playing like, they're using these weapons, these absolute beasts that they have in their team, and then they're using them at this like high level against each other in this fucking chess battle. It's sick. Like, I love it. Like, I'll sacrifice myself to get this space to do this. Like that ancient game, Jason, you and the Doinkazoid casted with that like fake late, like those type of plays. That's the stuff that, you know, unquantifiable until we get these videos that come out with all the comms and stuff in it, and you hear all that stuff. And I'm trying to work out how we can give more credit to in-game leaders.
It's
hard.
Yeah,
it's hard.
It's one of the great failings, I think, of the top 20. Is that and I don't even know what the solution is as well, because it is hard to quantify that. But like, I think we brought it up like an episode 1 or 2 episodes ago, where it was just like, how do you not have Apex in the top 20 of this year? Like in my mind, he should be there, but I know statistically he can't match up with all the other players. But like his contribution is just so massive. And that's the hard part, is being able to find a way to quantify in-game leader impact, you know, in a basically a stats-driven award, which I guess we might just have to accept that that's just what these awards are. Yeah,
but then there's obviously the in-game leader of the year award, which he did win, right? So for his category, he was the best. I see what you're saying. When was I guess, was Glaive in the top 20 when Astralis were?
He was
7.
Oh, that's right, because all five
he
were
was
in the top
a
20.
He was a fragging in-game leader at the time, though, too. Like, he probably actually deserved to be pretty high up on that.
But
well, a lot
of
the moves. He had some great moves.
That was
probably not
deserved. Yeah. No, that's true.
But Glaive was like in-game leader and playing like hard positions. He was playing like mini and on nuke and shit, like the really difficult positions where you normally see star players.
Yeah, but we had like rounds that we would, when I was like pugging with Russian stuff, that we'd call like Glaive in it, right? Like where he'd push through like a certain smoke on Vertigo and he'd be looking for kills and stuff. It would always be like in the mix of things, and he'd always be like very annoying. We're talking about, this is back as simple as when they were starting to do the one-way on Secret, you know, when to like block, when people were doing like smoke walls to cross, and they were blocking and using that one-way and jumping on the railing, and like Glaive was at the forefront of a lot of that stuff, or at least, you know, popularizing it in terms of finding the success with all of it. I don't know. I guess the thing is, you have to give the credit to the in-game leader with the calling stuff. But then I've done that before, and then Hooksy's like, "Nah, well, Hunter comes up with all the pistol rounds." I'm like, for fuck's sake, man! Like, I'm Hooksy, man. I'm trying
Stop
to give
being
you
so
some
humble.
Trying to give you your flowers, bro.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, and I guess the biggest way that these guys can get their props is if the voice comms are available, because then you'd hear them more in the timeouts. You'd hear them more like in the mid rounds, calling stuff, giving out information, like kind of being a bit more of a general. But I don't know. Let's. Do you guys think that more access, and let's say like 50% more access on that type of stuff, will happen in Counter-Strike in the next 5 years?
No.
I certainly fucking hope so.
No.
Yeah, I hope so too, but I'm kind of with Jason.
On what level are you thinking though here? Like for content after the fact, or for
what Blast do is the best, right? Where they have the editor available and they jump in and they do the stuff as we're going like in and out of halftime or whatever, where it's like edited together and it's got like they even get subtitles and shit in there, mate, when it's not English speaking teams. I think that stuff that they do, or at least previously did, I don't know if it's happening at the moment. I think that's great. Like I don't think like the academy. Remember when we were doing jump ins mid round? I remember watching some of that, and they would just like jump in mid round and listen to them comming. I don't think we'll get to that level.
No,
but
never.
something that can be turned around quite quickly, and not just with teams going like nice and stuff, but with a little bit more depth. Obviously, not to the point of we're going to do this, we're going to do this. This guy likes to do that, but some middle ground.
I think where you'll see it obviously maybe grow is the shit like ESL did with that match where they have like the almost like a documentary of the match, although that's a unique thing, but like bringing in
so
post
hard,
content.
Bro.
Yeah, that had to have taken fucking forever. That was an amazing piece. But
Me
also
and Rush were
like
going through it trying to make out all the comms, and you can't make out like between multiple voices and stuff, and then D-Hard comms like 1v, and you don't know what he's saying. You're like, what did he fucking say?
Yeah, I think the other one is players like, Kerrigan like releases voice comms matches, and Elige was doing it for a while, like because like players can get the voice comm recording from the match and sync it up for their own content. So I think that's probably the reason why I would say it's going to be more difficult, is I think players will eventually realize that's such a huge benefit to have like for their own channels and their own branding that they won't want to ever release.
Yeah, but they're going to take that from TOs.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. If I'm a TO, I'm like, nah, like if you're going to use it, we're using it as well. Like,
sure. But you have to have
dominion.
You have to have certain. I mean, they're going to require certain limitations on it. That's what remember that whole Blast boycott was about voice comms.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And that was because the listen-ins were available, and they thought that people might take that and take it to other teams or coaching or
which is weird,
right?
because the listen-ins weren't even available anymore. That was like one event that they did that for, and then it got shut down.
Yeah, me and Duncan worked one at like the start of the year before COVID came in.
Yep.
Yeah, that one there, and then I think it was available for a couple of times after that, but I wasn't working Blast events post that point. But there would some middle ground would be great. Just some middle ground, I'd froth it. But I just, as someone who knows how precious communication is, I don't know. I'm really not sure how it comes together. How we find that line.
I think it's overblown. Really, I don't think it's that big of an issue. Like, I don't think you can share stuff that happens live. I think you could do cool stuff even for the following day, where, like, as you're listening into it, whether it's us in the green room or someone in production or whatever, you just write down something that was really cool that can be a part of content, and then you do it like for tomorrow's games when you do the pre-game for that team, and you say, hey, we have a cool round for you yesterday to showcase. Like, it also helps us as analysts tell you, okay, this is an example of really good communication. And now, to be honest, like, the amount of things that you would be able to get that would compromise that thing, which is not simply just good basic CS, I don't think there's that much stuff. Like, literally, it would be something as simple as, hey, listen, I'm going to make noise here and you play after that, right? And then that happens and it works well and they find the kills, they win the round, right? If you were to show that later, what would it, what kind of info would it give away? There's no info there. There's no moves. It's just good CS, right? It's just drawing attention to one side to make a play on the other. I mean, every team that has, in the first 3 tiers of Counter-Strike is supposed to be doing that, right? But for the viewer, it would be pretty cool to showcase that. Obviously, you wouldn't probably use stuff where it's like something that's a clear anti-strat against the player and say, hey, this guy is going to do this. Maybe, with time, maybe we get away with some things like that. But at the start, we just keep it pretty simple and stuff that's in regards to fundamental CS, and we wouldn't give away the in-game leader talking for 30 seconds, like sort of explaining the anti-strat and what he saw in preparation, right? Which could potentially give away how they prepare for opponents,
I think, yeah, go on.
I was just going to say that would have to come with some form of an agreement with the members of talent or whoever get that opportunity. And we would, you'd have something signed so that at least the teams would know that, hey, look, if somebody breaches this and they start talking out of school about this, that, or the other, they're contractually obliged, or they've signed a thing that says they can't. Like if there was something like
just
that
put
that
it in front,
existed,
just say you'll be fired and you'll forfeit your fee for the event. You
Yeah,
think
if you're
anyone?
out there,
I would.
yeah.
You think anyone would fuck with that? Hell no.
I don't think so. No.
Hell no. We all love the bag.
So it's a lot like what we get to do is you wouldn't want to jeopardize what we get to do,
Exactly.
right? So I hope that we can make steps in that right direction, or because I think that shows the complexity of Counter-Strike to a viewer who might not necessarily understand how detailed it is. Because anybody who's played Counter-Strike, even at a moderate level, knows that good communication is the key to being successful in your decision making, right? And to see the level that these teams communicate to an average viewer, somebody who, not the level of, oh, they can't see each other through the walls, why are they glowing? The one step ahead of that, where they understand the baseline, but don't really understand the way that a team would function. I think that would really enamor these teams and players and individuals, because you can just see how much they talk, how much flowing of information there is, how important all of those snap decisions are. And I think that would be a huge key to getting people fans of personalities as well, because you would see the way that these guys are communicating during the game.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than the clips where they're getting fired up and, it's fucking nice, yeah, guy, that was fucking sick, that stuff. It gets you going. That's what it's about. Who do we have to bribe?
Wouldn't you think that the best, or one of the biggest steps forward that can help kind of really emphasize how much impact a certain in-game leader has, wouldn't it probably come with AI? Don't you think a machine learning would be able to get there eventually, where it starts to, you could start to analyze
AI?
Well,
Why do you want to get rid of all of our jobs, Jason?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Can't
bro?
humans do anything right anymore?
Well, I mean, think of it if you have an AI that's able to kind of show when certain points of map control in each map are taken, the odds of winning that round kind of increase a certain degree, and then it can analyze, how in-game leaders are actually taking that map control, and which in-game leaders are taking the important, and which ones are providing the most swings with the calls they're making and the way the team moves across the map. Wouldn't that be the data that you'd want to be able to actually judge an in-game leader? If you wanted to distill it down to a statistics angle.
I just
hell.
feel it's really hard to just make it about statistics, no matter how advanced they can get with AI or whatever it is, right? I feel you have to have the eye test, because the problem is compared to, for example, sports and stuff, it's there's fog of war and there's imperfect information.
Fog of war. What a great term. I haven't heard that in years, since fucking
World of Warcraft.
yeah.
or Warcraft 2.
So it's hard, because you could come to the same outcome, let's say, when it comes to map control, and these guys could have met, but the ways in which they got to that point and what their opponents were doing at the same time makes the scenarios from that point on completely different, because they have different information, right? Let's say maybe at the start, the team is trying to go, it's Mirage, and they're trying to play close ramp or close apps, or maybe they're pushing apps at CT at the start, right? And they just had one guy window, or maybe even not that, maybe connector, and as soon as he sees nades and presence, he falls back. Now, at that point, you have no information how quickly they're moving and what they're taking, because you're making a play somewhere else. So it could look okay, they didn't have mid control, but whatever. I don't know. I just don't. That's why I also don't trust, when some of these tools, it tells me, okay, they opened up with a default and ended up with a B split. And then I watched the round and it's not that at all. It was something, it was a default, and one guy snuck into CT, and found good timing, because they were putting pressure on making it look like an apps pop, which made a gap in long and whatever. And then they came back and went B and hit B with a guy lurking who found good timing. That's not a fucking B split at all. That's not what happened.
Yeah, situational Counter-Strike.
So that's why I don't like machines, and I like my job.
Fuck the machines.
Okay, I'll tell that to our audio editor after this.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, look, when the whole Terminator situation happens,
the menial tasks you can have.
Sure.
But
okay, great.
I love my robot vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
He keeps telling me I need to change a sweeper brush or some shit on it, but I love him all the
I can
same.
clean my apartment. I don't want him to fuck my wife for me.
Well, that's not far off, Yanko.
Fun job.
That's not far off at all. Apparently,
bless.
that level of stuff's getting. I'm gonna Google it right now. Most advanced AI sex dolls. This is
What the
where.
Did you know that there's that? Someone created like a profile, a completely AI profile of a girl, and I don't know if it's like on OnlyFans or something like that, and it's making like, I don't know, a couple of tens of thousands of dollars a month.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Good for them.
Okay.
Like it's the
work smart, not hard.
the image and everything. I don't know if you Google it, Chad, you will see it. Like, and you know, it posts like,
What's it called?
I don't know the name of it. Just type AI. I don't know. I don't know if it's OnlyFans or if it's like an
Aren't there those
influencer. It might just be an influencer AI account. Like type something like that and it will pop up.
Aren't
I
there
want
those
the two of
super
you-
popular AI streamers as well? Like they
Oh,
they do,
yeah,
like, the
yeah,
animated
yeah.
yeah.
But go and Google right now. Real
it's not
doll
hard to be
sex
more
doll.
entertaining than Shroud. So
Check out the real doll sex dolls. Apparently,
My wife
these are
is gonna
like.
kill me.
What do you mean? You should be using ExpressVPN, one of our sponsors, Jason.
potentially, or just incognito tabs. Control Shift and
Yeah, no, but Jane pays the internet bill, Yanko, so she's going through and looking at all the URLs it's gone to.
No. That internet bill goes to the company, baby. That's a tax write-off.
Oh, so Jason's mum's seeing it. That incognito is not stopping that. He needs to use the VPN.
that's so much better.
my God.
Yeah, that makes it so much better, right?
Oh, man. Fucking hell.
Jesus Christ, what am I looking at?
Yeah, I'm going to go to YouTube and find a video now. Meet Harmony, the sex robot. Harmony, sex robot. Where do you look like, Harmony? Where are you at here? Jesus, this is so. Imagine this is the future. People just staying at home playing Face at Pugs, and then when they lose, they go off and bang an AI sex doll that says, "I'll make things better, honey." Like that's going to be Counter-Strike in 50 years.
Dude, this one is $8,600.
You want two? Get you a blonde and a brunette, Jason?
Do I get a discount on the second one? For fuck's sake.
Shipping might be free though if you buy a second.
Shipping better be fucking free. Oh, sweet Jesus! All right, so we did Group C. That was G2 and NIP and Complexity and Navi that's going on right now. Let's go down. Let's move on down to Group D. We'll just go down the line.
Well,
VP,
D for do.
D for dolls.
God damn it! Virtus Pro, Big, Cloud9, Heroic.
Well, Big are obviously winning the
They're
group
winning the
based off
group.
their performance.
They've always
So
been good in blast groups. They've always done well in blast groups.
This is their major now.
That's Chad's favorite angle. This is their major. They have no other tournaments.
The playoffs for Big start now. Unfortunately, they play Virtus Pro.
Oh yeah, they're fucked.
I'm interested to see Heroic on LAN. Like, Nerds beasting it up still. Nikodos had some impactful moments, but they all had some moments. Some stuff I was noticing, though, like Ancient, for example, Nikodos wasn't always AWPing. They had Shush, like, AWP and anchor down A on Ancient, which does make sense, but I thought maybe they'd just put Nikodos there and then rotate Shush around. But, yeah, they didn't go about that. That's what it was. I know this is a little bit off different angle again, but Precy, they obviously don't have an AWPer. So like Refresh was AWPing or TMB was AWPing on Nuke. Like they just kept changing all the AWPers up. And you know, it makes them pretty unpredictable, but I don't think it's going to give them like a caliber of Counter-Strike that's going to be replicable to go deep in the RMR. Anyway, back to this group. I kind of was going to segue in with Cloud9. Cloud9 did the business. They did what they needed to do to get through. They beat, what was it, OG, Bet Boom, and there's one more off the top of my head. 3D Max, the French, there it is. And they were all pretty dominant games versus OG 13-5 versus 3D Max 13-10 versus BetBoom 13-3, 13-5. So they absolutely destroyed Nafany in that head-to-head there. But the thing is, again, I'm always just going to get hung up on the fact they don't have an AWPer. But within this group, I still think they should make top two. I don't know how much I believe in this Heroic team yet. I need to see more.
Well, yeah,
Nikodos has been much better in CS2, but I'm still not convinced, right? Like it's always been when it comes to some of the bigger, more important games on LAN, where he would tend to fall off. So this is a great opportunity for him, this and Katowice, obviously, to sort of prove himself, gain some confidence for the all-important RMR that lies ahead. Because I was saying in the last episode, I feel like for heroic. They have their in-game leader, star rifler, and coach for the future, right? And they're hoping that at least one of Tessus or Shush, probably Shush, is like stays, which I think is likely at this point in time. You know, and then you just have to find an offer and maybe replace Tessus for a different guy if you're looking for an upgrade there. You know, I don't know from the inside of the team what they feel about them, and then that's it. But if Nikodos also proves himself and starts playing really well on a consistent basis, and you believe he can be your upper for the long run, all of a sudden, like, you might be just one player change away from being a contender.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm so skeptical on them. I don't know what it is. I just am.
They're unproven. I mean,
really
they're unproven. Like, Nerds to have to. I mean, he's obviously like a good player, but for him to be the sole focus and to know that like he's a win condition for his team, you know, Kiksan as well. I mean, all these guys are trending in the right way to make this next step, right? But it's still, that's not a guarantee that they will make it. It's likely, but not 100%.
Yeah.
Just quickly here, just 1 second. Let me bring this up, and then we can get back to where is it? I had it ready to go, guys. Just Jason, edit this bit out.
Sure.
Just edit this bit out, Jason.
That won't be happening.
Jason,
If there's anything that needs to be edited out, I think we all know.
Yeah, we have a
Was it the
couple
sex
other,
doll bit? You guys didn't like the sex doll
bit?
Yanko's question. We have a lot to edit out this episode.
Fuck, where I can't. What, guys? I had it ready to go.
But the complexity losing to Navi.
But wait. That wasn't it. It was meant to be like a better breaking news noise than that. Wait, maybe this one.
You don't hear
Not
it.
hearing anything. Yep.
You don't hear it?
Nope.
Okay, well, the people at home will hear it. Breaking news! Complexity from 8-4 up on the first half. Lose 13-8 on the second map versus Na'Vi. Going down 2-0. It'll sound better when you guys listen to it back on the podcast.
And they're all on their phones,
I
like,
promise.
immediately as they get them back. Like, what? Checking Twitter, you know, straight away.
Probably checking Instagram.
Very healthy.
Anyone sled in the Anyone sled in the DMs? Bloody hell! It might be snowy in Copenhagen, so they could be sledding in there. No
Stone
drums.
isn't playing until later.
Who?
Hey, Stone.
Who? Oh. I'm a bit slow on the update today. I missed a couple of Yanko zingers. Well, next up, Yanko, you get to watch the delectable treat of Vitality versus OG.
Oh, that's
I know
exciting.
you can't wait to see. To be fair, I want to see how Heavy God does. I want to see if this guy just continues to carry. He seems like he can frag. He frags pretty hard.
I hope
then-
this just ends quick so we can get to Astralis Falcons.
Fair,
that game is going to be
No,
a
it will.
banger.
It will be like G2 NIP, and I think also there was this interview with Keto where he was talking about Heavy God, and the quote is like, you can see that he's special, and I think definitely Keto is someone who's opposite of special can recognize that really
Come
well.
on, man.
Sees all the things in him that he doesn't see in himself.
Well, he's just another good Israeli player, but he'll be going up against Spinks and Flamesy. But you're right, it probably should just be another quick 2-0, and then Jason's right. If it happens quickly, we can get to the main event, the meat and potatoes of the day, Astralis versus Falcons, which should be it's going to be interesting to see how Falcons look on debut, how Zonic and Snappy are being able to whip the team into shape, what type of Boros we get. Is he just going to be sharp and bopping? Are they going to have, I don't think, neutered him, but are they going to have found a way to make the most of him? Because Zonic did an interview with HLTV just the other day as well, talking a bit about him. And in that interview, he mentioned like Boros would be rocking up late and stuff. So he's had to kind of curb that, which I guess this is an opportunity for Boros that is... he's obviously a skilled individual, but do you think circumstances help that Falcons are a Saudi team and he's from the Middle East? Do you think that probably helps a bit?
No. Help in what
No?
way?
Well,
I think it does
why
that they
keep
want to
Boros
retain. They
out
want to
of-
retain like someone from that region to help them with their brand. You know, they're trying. That's their target audience, right? It's the Middle East, North Africa, that whole sort of a region. So yeah, they're hoping it works out. But I think it's exactly what it is. It's like this is his opportunity. If he doesn't rise up to the occasion, you know, he'll be out, because I'm pretty sure that Zonic, you know, would never really agree on having to keep a player on a team solely for whatever. I don't want to call it marketing purposes, but like the identity of the team. Like he comes in to make the team the best in the world, right? So if you need to make changes down the line, then yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be interesting, right? And that's why when I was reading, like, he was rocking up late and stuff, I was like, bro, you're an opportunity to play with some absolute fucking legends here. So some big Counter-Strike names. So he's only 19, and we heard from like the Monty crew that he wasn't necessarily the easiest to work with. So that's what I'm excited to see, how that kind of gels, because otherwise it's the Ents core plus Magisk, which is pretty good. Like that just sounds like it. But as a lot of these teams that I've gotten hyped about recently, Cloud9, when they came together with what like felt like the super team, fucking disappointing as all hell and fell apart at the seams. Liquid have been off to a slow start, right? They haven't been looking too hot to try either, even though I might be getting ahead of myself here. Falcons might be another one of those teams that fall into that same category. And then that goes back to, oh, well, they need time. And that's probably true, right? I used to be one of the guys out there being like, yeah, but this team just came together, this player just joined, they need time. I seemingly have forgotten that. But I guess maybe my expectations. That's the thing. How much time? 3 months? 6 months?
How much time do we give these? Because it's changed
3
over
months.
the years.
3 months? Yeah. Like, obviously the major is where you'd want to be trying to peak if you're a lot of these names, but with how close this first major is, I don't want to say that teams would have it as a write-off. You would still want to be going as hard as you can to go as deep as you can.
I guess the major...
But how many teams can realistically win this next major?
Well, it feels like the major is going to be a good barometer to see how much potential there is in some of these lineups. Like maybe it's not their final form, maybe they haven't quite got there yet, but it's like, does this team is their best form strong enough to contend for a title?
I really like that question, although we'll probably have to get back to it once we get closer to the major. But how many teams do you think can realistically win the major, or which teams?
I would only have two teams in the running right now, but that's the thing. Probably one of those who isn't Vitality or FaZe will probably win the major, right? Like this is just how it tends to happen. Like I think if G2 are on their day, like
I would say
if it's a good day for G2, they can win.
I was going to say I would put G2 up there as well with FaZe and Vitality.
People are going to think we're putting so much faith in this team, and it's like
no, it's not. But like if you have
players,
if you have a team that won Katowice and Cologne in the previous year, made one roster change that seems relatively lateral,
could even be argued.
Yeah, like why wouldn't you have them up there?
People are haters,
G2,
I guess.
Yeah,
G2, FaZe, Vitality
are probably at the top of the list.
Falcons,
maybe VP.
Falcons, VP, Spirit.
You're putting Falcons
you put Spirit
in
there?
What? Yeah,
you putting I guess both those, Spirit and Falcons.
Yeah,
Echo's being mighty lenient.
Mouse can't do it.
I don't think Mouse
Navi can't do it. No. Monty won't do it. Complexity sure as fuck can't do it.
That Brolin pickup is not looking super.
Cloud9 can't do it with no upper.
Brolin's playing well in the team though.
Yeah, but it's
and that's pretty much
it. It feels different. Feels different
because either.
So what we said, five names.
I put Spirit there over some of these other teams because they have fucking Donk, bro, and Shiro. So I can see a world in which those two just have a fucking run.
But I would have loved this event as a soft opening.
Somehow magically, like I don't know, like someone. That's because they have a high ceiling at the very least. Navi doesn't have that really, and their team play hasn't made up for it yet enough. They'll need more time to get better. Similar story with Mouse, although they do have Jimmy, right? And
Jimmy
exertion in there, but I don't know. It's like it's not. I don't like it yet.
So what we're like around like 5, maybe 6 teams that we feel like have a chance at winning the major.
Well, that's
under the right circumstances.
And right on the outside of that is like Astralis and.
Depending on how
Astralis
they
still have to grow a lot, right? Like Astralis are one of these teams that have to grow. That's why I'm a bit like on the fence about putting a Falcons or a Spirit because I think they still have a lot of growth. This is why I think that it sucks for Spirit not having this soft opening of the blast groups to acclimatize them more as a unit on land.
You also have to take into account that one of these 5-6 teams that we've named is definitely not going to be in the playoffs. Right?
Sure.
Like they're going to lose, someone's going to fuck up, and then you're going to have someone else in the playoffs, and someone might have an easier bracket, right? And then it might come down to just winning like 1 or 2 best of 3s on stage, right? And that's it. And a Falcons team with the end score and Magisk and Zonic as the coach and Boros, who, if he turns out he can be serviceable, I mean, I fucking like that. I like that more than Mouse. I like it more than Navi. I like it more than Monty, So that's the way I'm thinking about it all.
Do you think we sleep on Monty a bit, or do you think they just lack like enough strong because
I think their ceiling isn't too high. That's the only thing. Like they're good. I don't think anyone thinks like they're not good anymore. But it's just some of these players have to show us a little bit more, right? That they are capable of more than what they've shown us so far. I think that's pretty much it, because
they strike me as like just a dangerous upset team. That's the feeling I get with them.
But they're embedded in the top 10 right now.
I know, but who did they beat? Like, you go through their games, like they had to play VP a bunch of times. Sometimes they would lose to them. Sometimes they would beat them. Like, I'm going through, trying to see when was there a phase game, a vitality game, something like that, a proper sort of tier 1 season team. And they beat Vitality in Pro League, right? Like, I mean,
they beat Spirit.
Yeah, but that's all, like they haven't yet beaten a team like that on, let's say, they didn't make playoffs on Cologne and then beat someone there, right? Like something like that. Sure, they made the playoffs of the major and then
they also
Apex,
haven't,
right?
They also haven't had to play any of these like online stuff. So their last event was Atlanta.
No,
it's been a while since we've had to.
Yeah, but I think as well, like a part of them being good, like SDY's actually played some really inspired Counter-Strike, which is kind of crazy considering.
I like Demka a lot. I like the players on this team a lot.
Demka gets loud, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
He gets loud.
He has a game now and again as well. It's fun to watch. I think also remember, like they're also doing that weird like juggling the leadership duties as well, right? Like they bounce between Waro and SDY a couple times. That doesn't inspire a whole lot of fucking confidence.
Yeah, that always murkies the water a little bit when that starts happening, doesn't it? That always gets a little bit confusing. Yeah. All right. Gentlemen, do you want to shut this thing down, or would we got more we want to say? We're almost 2 hours in.
We only did we didn't do all the groups. We can't do
we missed
group C
A.
and D, like,
No, we did most of them, just in a roundabout way. We talked about we did Spirit, we did Group B.
All right, Group B is going to be FaZe and Liquid, right? Unless Game Religion can do something, which
they do something.
Yeah, and then Group A.
Group B just got so much less sexy when with the donk
Spirit
and
news.
Yeah, exactly. It was making me.
It was a heater. Yeah,
it was making me excited.
Group A
is the best.
Yeah, Vitality's going to make it through, and then is it Astralis or Falcons? Pretty much. I mean, OG maybe Heavy God can do something cool, but it'll be fun to see Astralis Falcons.
No.
I think like that's the thing. He might have like some good rounds, but I don't see OG. Well, again, this is like their fucking Super Bowl. But the matchup for me is like
SPUNJ
Falcons
Classic
versus Astralis. To see, I've taken it from Tommy. Is to see Falcons play, right, and what they look like as a complexion of the team, and to see Astralis' growth. Are they, as a team who is more established than the Falcons roster, able to take them down? And are we going to see them taking more steps? I need to see more from Stair. I need to see Stown and Yabby more integrated. I need to see the way that they're playing the game. Like, are they making the correct steps in the right direction? Because this is a roster that could be a top 5 team in the world, but they need a trend in that way. So those are the things I'm looking out for here, and then it's just Vitality not shooting the bed, just doing what Vitality does, just taking care of business. Like, Vitality don't have to dominate every game. They just have to get through every game, right? Like, it doesn't matter if they go 3 maps in a couple of these series. It doesn't matter if they're close. They just need to get through. Because for them, I imagine they're targeting the major as their main focus, with like the tour stop of Katowice along the way as an event that they would like to win if they want to establish themselves as, I don't want to throw era team around or dynasty team around or anything like that, but like that's the way that you start getting into that status, right? Is by winning the big events. So if they want to go from being the major winning team of last year and the best team of last year to now starting to really build something behind the name, they're going to need to win a Katowice or a Cologne, a fall finals, that type of stuff. That becomes mandatory, right? If you want to be a team like that.
Dude, Vitality has they have such a crazy lineup just going down the names.
It is very strong, isn't it? Like,
it's so insane. Every time I look at it, I'm just like, holy fuck, how do they have this roster? How do they get this lineup?
Mezzi as well, I feel like you can get more out of. Like, I think he's going to grow in that role. I don't think he's going to regress like he obviously had a rough. Remember that Vertigo game? Him and Twist both like with mega rough halves over towards that B side.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, all of them feel like they could have more to give, except there's just so many good players on one team. You know, like like between like Sphinx, Flames, Mezzi, then you have the best player in the world in Zywoo, and then you have the best in-game leader in Apex. But like those three guys are kind of like one of them is going to pop off in a game, and the other is just not going to have enough to go around.
yeah, true.
Like what are you supposed to do? It's such a cool problem to have, but that lineup is just crazy strong. Fuck. Who's winning the whole event?
Oh, what do you mean the whole event? It's just
The whole
each
event.
group.
I know, but who's winning? If you had to predict it now, who's winning?
What, the spring finals?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Fuck.
I can be boring and just say Vitality if you want.
Falcons.
No, I forgot.
G2.
I forgot the
Spirit.
playoffs right now. Oh.
Liquid.
We can predict who's going to win Katowice now, but I imagine we're going to talk about Katowice
In Katowice.
in person.
Yeah, let's do it there.
Yeah, okay. All right.
All right. Well, see you guys in Poland, I guess.
See you in Poland. Bye-bye.